American people. Today we continue that very proud tradition.
What tradition is that? It is the return of the president's fitness test. Yesterday in a big...
Thank goodness.
Yeah, so we're all going to... Did you run a mile here? Did you park a mile away and run a mile?
I did the pull-ups.
Did you?
Yeah, and then the sit and reach.
I'm going to do some... The sit and reach is one I never liked.
Me neither. I'm terrible at it. It's like genetic.
No flexibility?
Oh, horrible.
Yeah, I know. John, did you do your push-ups, your pull-ups, your sit-ups today?
The shuttle run?
I hope not. I don't know. John's warming up to that.
John's doing... that's coffee.
John's warming up to that.
He's
got his
he
coffee.
Was doing 12-ounce curls.
There we go. So, that was a big event yesterday. Brian DeChambeau is now part of the Presidential Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. What a good way to start out a Feel Good Friday. Here's a little bit of him.
We couldn't be more excited. I've got a great team behind me. We're establishing more council members as time is going on, and we're going to be excited to showcase what we have for the American public here soon.
And Lawrence Taylor was there. He was holding forth, so it was a big deal. You know, I remember having to do that. I remember how I loathed that. I mean, because it was, if you're not really, I wasn't really in shape in high school. I'm in better shape now than I was then. I just wasn't, that wasn't my forte then. But we had to do that. I don't know, when did they start that? Was it fifth grade when you had to start that?
I know I did it in elementary school. I don't think I did it in high school.
Well, maybe it was high school.
I remember interviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger about it.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, he came to Mid-Missouri. He was the chairman of the President's Council on Physical Fitness and interviewed Arnold.
Wow.
And he was kind of full of himself even then.
No, I can't imagine it. So at yesterday's event, of course, the famous linebacker of the New York Giants, Lawrence Taylor, was there. Annika Sorenstam was there, the female golfer, retired now. Triple H Levesque of the world WWE. I don't know Triple H, but everyone calls him Triple H.
Oh,
you know Triple H?
Yeah, the pro wrestler for sure.
Yeah, I don't follow a lot of that. I don't know. But and then Harrison Butker as well, the kicker. So this is really interesting, and I think this is just another metric of the whole movement to make America healthy again. And it'll be good to send the message that that's something. It used to be a badge of honor when you completed that, and I think there were different levels. The more push-ups you could do in an amount of time and the more sit-ups, and then a little bit of friendly
certificate or something.
Little competition, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I know that the elementary school in Southern Boone does something similar. It's not the presidential fitness, but they do recognize, like at assemblies at the end of the year, like the person who did the most pull-ups and the person who got the fastest. They do a different run now. It's not the shuttle run. The beep test.
You know what I like about it is, I don't know how they're going to implement it, but I hope there is a bit of competitiveness to it, so that it's not like, as long as you complete it, everyone gets a blue ribbon. I hope that there's a little bit of some, hey, I want to get some swag. I want to do the mile quicker than Drake. I want to do more push-ups than Stephanie, And rather than, I'm just afraid after coming out of the woke world that we've been in for so long with this fog in our brain that, everyone's a winner as long as you compete. I think, everyone should probably get some recognition, like you said, a certificate. But, I want to be number one. That's sort of a Trumpian kind of a thing. America first, push-up Meister first.
That's an RFK Jr. thing, as into fitness as he is.
Yeah.
And we talked about like the different personalities and how that might influence your fitness habit. And I'm like, I am a peer pressure, group fitness type of gal. And nothing put the pressure on like having to run the mile in front of the whole school. I think a little bit of pressure to, stay fit isn't necessarily a bad thing.
You mentioned that when I'm swimming out at the Ark, if I'm swimming by myself, I don't think I swim as fast as when there's a good swimmer in the lane next to me. Sometimes I think swimmers from Mizzou or whatever. There's really good swimmers there. And, of course, I can't keep up with them. But, man, I pick it up a little bit. It's just a natural thing.
Well, and, of course, you've been married for a long time. Yeah. But I'm sure that, like, in the gym, if there's a cute girl walking by, someone adds an extra plate, right? Like, there's a little bit of pressure there, too. Like,
An extra plate at the training table or extra plate on the weight machine, right?
No. And some other big news yesterday that we have to talk about, because I think it's amazing how the New York Times is reporting that this declassified annex of the Durham report, Chuck Grassley out of Iowa released that yesterday. And, a lot of people are saying, the New York Times headline said something to the effect of, well, as a distraction to take our eyes off of the Epstein files, the administration is talking about these new annex reports from the Durham investigation. Well, here's Jonathan Turley, who Jonathan Turley is a prominent attorney. Is he considered among attorneys, these celebrity attorneys, Stephanie? Dershowitz has been out there about the Epstein thing, but does Turley have a lot of respect and cred when he makes statements that are fairly definitive? No?
I don't really follow celebrity attorneys that much, but yeah, he's not like a wacko, right?
He's a constitutional law professor where, Georgetown or something?
Okay. Let's hear what he has
But he's
to
not
say.
a stooge.
No.
Required this all-on-deck effort, the government, the campaign, the media. That's why when you see the reaction of the media today, it's clear that no matter what is produced, you can show a dozen heads in a duffel bag and they're still not impressed. And the reason is that for most of the media, this is not coverage. It would be a confession. That is, if they actually cover this story, they are confessing their own role in what may be the greatest political hit job in history.
Now, look, that caught my attention. It's one thing for an analyst with that kind of visibility, credibility, prominence to say, well, there's a lot here there. It appears as though the CIA, the FBI, they knew that Hillary Clinton cooked up this scheme to, first of all, prevent Trump from getting elected and then undermine his presidency, right? And then they were actually, I think it's pretty damning what we're hearing more and more every time they make a release here that, in fact, Brennan knew this was cooked up. He knew it was a phony fraud, and yet he went against some career people who said, no, there's nothing there, and they ran with the ball, and the media was part of it.
Well, and this, and if the media decides not to cover it like it should, then it kind of has a Biden problem because they tried to tell us that Biden was just fine. We could see with our own eyes he was not just fine. And what's nice about this additional information we got yesterday is posted all over Twitter. We can read. There are some pretty significant redactions, but some of the really damning stuff is in. We can read it with our own eyes. And so it's hard for them to put a spin on it or cover it in a different way when we can see the facts with our own eyes. I had to laugh yesterday at this tweet. It said, "Bad news, guys. We are all now in possession of information that could lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton." We're all in trouble now.
But I guess they're
watch
saying,
her back.
When this all started a couple weeks ago, when Tulsi Gabbard made the big announcement, I've got some bombshell stuff that I'm going to be rolling out here, and just wait.
And on the heels of the Pam Bondi stuff, I think we're all like, okay, show us the receipts. Well, yesterday we got some pretty significant receipts.
This may be the most consequential stuff that I think I've seen. I know that. And yet it just seems as though the media refuses to acknowledge it. People on the left are saying, oh, there's nothing there. But, the sad part is there was this talk about the statute of limitations is going to throw an umbrella of protection over everyone involved. And I don't know the statutes enough, but it sort of feels that way.
Yeah, although I did see some chatter on Twitter about that because it has been a point of discussion. But then I believe some of the folks were the investigation and there were interviews well beyond when the events occurred. And so if there were additional cover-ups or lies in those interviews, someone at least was speculating that some of that is still within the available window, too.
Oh, so that, in other words, that might start the clock ticking again?
It's never the actual crime. It's the cover-up, right?
Yeah.
And that's what tends to get people. So I don't know the particular statute of limitations here or the particular timeline, but certainly that's going to play a role as we continue to watch this and get more information about who knew what when and what actually happened.
In another big story in Missouri, not necessarily in our listening area in mid-Missouri or in Springfield area, but over in St. Louis, this is a big deal. Sam Page, who's the county executive in St. Louis County, has been indicted. Now, he's a Democrat. He's, so we say, flirted with hot water before. There's been a lot of problems he's had over the years, right?
Yes.
Pushing
Ask the
edge.
folks in St. Louis County during the pandemic if you don't believe that one.
And just like we cover Mondami, it's St. Louis, but it's the biggest population center of our state. We spend a lot of people spend a lot of capital and resources and time dealing with their crime situation. And the argument is, if St. Louis isn't doing well, our state's not doing well. And here, you've got the leader of St. Louis County indicted on charges over a campaign mailer.
And we're going to unpack this a little bit more as the show goes on. But basically, just misappropriation of funds. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the big thing, and people will remember this is what took down Webster, John, in a little bit different context, because I think Webster was using it for his personal campaign. This was for actually a county issue, and people have been dinged on this before at the Ethics Commission, but the way that the law has changed recently, you can be charged criminally for this, but you can't essentially use government funds for campaigning.
This started
Steph's referring to former Attorney General Bill Webster, who back in the day ended up doing some lock time over similar things.
Now, this started with Denny Hoskins, I guess, with an investigation with reports of county-paid materials opposing Prop B, and referred the case to the St. Louis County prosecuting attorney there, Melissa Price Smith. And so this started, I guess, back in then Governor Mike Parson had appointed Smith. And so this was weird. So Page was born in Kansas City, held a seat in the Missouri House from 2003 to 2009. I think I forgot.
Right at the center of this, man, he really got into it with the St. Louis Council over this whole deal.
And he had run for lieutenant governor. Yeah. He and the county council have been fighting back and forth then. So, and then remember Steve Stenger, who was the predecessor to Page? He resigned, 5 or 6 years ago and pled guilty to the federal charges of bribery and mail fraud. What is it about the air there in the office of the St. Louis County Executive? And you're right, that tarnishes the reputation of a big city in Missouri. And if a big city in Missouri's reputation is tarnished, all of Missouri, in a way, sort of has to wear that chain, right?
And they've got enough problems on their hands in St. Louis, and this is a distraction. And when your leader is doing corrupt things, or allegedly, doing corrupt things, and you don't have the kind of leadership you need, it hurts us all.
Wow, this is big stuff. Well, there's a lot more going on in the area. We do have the manhunt on for a fugitive, by the way. We're going to talk about that at 6:35. Cindy O'Loughlin to talk about redistricting. There's a lawsuit, by the way, that Mike Moon, I guess, and others have filed.
Oh, boy.
Talk about that with her, and that'll be at 7:35. And then Chris Chin from the Department of Agriculture about the State Fair. Right? So that'll be fun at 8:08. Lots coming up. 573-874-9390. We'll be back.
You're listening to Wake Up Missouri.
Who's leading the Democratic Party? I'm just curious.
There are lots of leaders. And
there's generally a leader of the Democratic Party. You know, like, oh, that's the leader of the Democratic Party. Who comes to mind?
I think there are a lot of, I'm not going to go through names because then I'm going to leave somebody out and then I'm going to hear about it. But let me just.
There's Kamala Harris. Here's Stephanie Bell with the Daily DC Rundown.
And in two people whose careers are now dead, Kamala appeared for her first post-election interview on the Colbert Show. He's got, not very much time left. She has said she won't be running for California governor, and she is releasing a book. So I know, Randy, you were looking... You got some trips coming up. You were looking for a good beach read.
Always.
She is going to release her memoir, 107 Days, about the last election cycle. You're waiting, right? Did you pre-order it already?
No, I bought a chalkboard so I can scratch it with my fingernails as I read it.
I actually like reading. I read the McCaskill book. Now,
You did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because
Masochist.
You should read it. Jennifer Bukowski convinced me to read it and said, you should read it. You got to read what they're up to.
That's true.
I think maybe, but I don't really want to give her more money. Maybe we'll get one copy and pass it around or something.
Yeah, right.
All right. You can read all my notes in the margins. So that is happening. So make sure you get on and pre-order that book. I know you're excited.
Drake's already on the line.
Also,
right
we talked about Hawley's plan for the tariff money and like additional stimulus money earlier this week. And I think he got a lot of criticism from us and on the text line. But he got some pretty significant criticism from President Trump this week. But he is sponsoring this bill and being joined by Democrats for something I think, Randy, you actually probably agree with him on, in that we should monitor and ban like insider trading for congressional members.
Yeah, but I'm worried about stock. If you own stock in a big company and you're the 51% owner, you shouldn't be forced to sell that.
So more Hawley criticism from Randy this morning.
Well, no, I mean, Rick Scott gave it to him. He said, he should be
He was the only Republican to join with the Democrats to vote this bill out of committee. And then I think it'd be tough for any Republican to support it after what Trump said about Hawley on Truth Social.
With refinement, I think it's a good idea. But,
Although what we are hearing, according to the New York Times, in 2022, about a fifth of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have traded stocks related to their work in Congress. So not a really good look, but maybe like in the details, we need to kind of figure out a plan that prevents them from getting rich off their status as elected officials, but maybe also allows them to be citizens, right?
Right. I mean, I just think there's a difference between having stock in a corporation that you own with 5 other people, right? As opposed to, and it may have 1,500 employees, and owning stock with NVIDIA. There's a big difference there.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, like if you asked me what I own, I have no idea. Like most people use a money manager.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
So, all right. Well, we are also... It's finally here, the big deadline, the tariff deadline. What we are hearing from the Trump world is that there's roughly 3 groups of countries now. We've got 10% for countries where we have a trade surplus, 15% where we have a small trade deficit, and much higher where the U.S. didn't strike deals. So Trump's saying he's going to raise tariffs on Canada to 35% from 25%. And then also he said he said there aren't going to be any more extensions, but now we're hearing that Mexico gets a 90-day extension while they are still negotiating a deal. So
how do you like your tacos, with fish or chicken? All right. Hey, when we come back, there's a manhunt in all of our listening areas. Brian Hauswirth to talk about that at 6:35. Welcome back into Wake Up Missouri. I'm Randy Tobler, along with Stephanie Bell and John Marsh, Drake Whitman, and I don't know about anyone else, but I am feeling good by virtue of, if nothing else, one beautiful thing, which is you walk out the door this morning and it's cool.
Cool-ish.
Yeah, man, compared to what we've had, it feels like get out the sweater. It's beautiful.
I don't know about
well,
that.
maybe not that cool, but it's just felt cool this morning. I don't know. It was very nice. A little breeze blowing rather than that just dead, humid, like a sauna kind of an air. Well, hey, if you're anywhere within earshot of our voice, well, unless you're listening on the app or on the web over in Tahiti, which people do listen when they're away. I do when I'm away. I listen. You want to be on the lookout for this guy who broke a parolee who broke out of. They were trying to put an ankle bracelet on him. He broke out. And now they don't know where he's at. And so they're looking for him. Brian Hauswirth has that story.
Gary, obviously, Nolan and I have talked about this. And Randy and Stephanie, good morning to you. This is one of the rare news stories that I'm actually leading with on both I'm filling in for Don on KWTO in Springfield, but we're leading with it there and leading with it on the Eagle in mid-Missouri because he is wanted in both areas and could be in both areas. So his mugshot up is at 93.9theeagle.com. Our listeners are going to recognize his face. We've reported on him before. Randy, in and out of Missouri prisons, paroled repeatedly since 2007, 18 years in and out of prisons. That's a story in itself. But the sheriff in Callaway County has bumped him up. He is now the current most wanted fugitive. Wow. The sheriff saying this on the record that Gary Bodie Moore, who's 40 years old, is dangerous, has a history of fleeing, and also a history of assaulting law enforcement. They had him cornered this week in the Branson area. They had him cornered at a hotel or a motel. We're not sure. They've been very vague on that. He somehow escaped from that area in Hollister.
Wow.
And then they still think he might be in the Branson area. However, he has family in mid-Missouri, in the Hallsville area, and also in rural Callaway County. Wow. So deputies are saying that he should not be approached on that. I've got that up as well. I've been reporting on KWTO. There's one other interesting thing about this, Randy, about this case. If you go to the Callaway County Sheriff's Facebook page, and I link to it in my story, tons of comments and people that know him, they've been in prison with him, things like that, are commenting. Other people that know him in the community. There's at least one, maybe two women that are saying if they found him or saw him, they would harbor him. They've said that on the Facebook page.
Now, I'm looking at a picture of him on the Callaway County Sheriff's Office. We're going to have to ask the lone member of our crew who is of the female persuasion, Stephanie Bell. Now, Stephanie, here he is. This is not his mugshot, but they've got this wanted all over his forehead. And he's got, look at that. He's tatted everywhere. Look at it. He's sort of got that. He's sort of got that white muscle shirt on. It looks like a little fairly buff. I mean, what do you think? Think you harbor this guy, Stephanie?
I wouldn't really say I have a type, but I probably would say that's not it. I know it comes as a surprise to you.
This is an interesting psychology.
We talked a couple weeks ago about, like, Drake was telling us about some sort of social media account where, there are like a group of women who, like, their kink is criminals, and they like to, they marry these guys in prison, they visit them, they write them letters, and like it's like a thing.
They like bad boys.
I guess.
Stephanie is correct on that. In all seriousness,
now you spent some time in the system.
I was the spokesman at the Department of Corrections, and I can verify.
Not as a prisoner, but you were on the other side of the. Yeah,
I can verify. In some cases, there are women that are involved in churches, and in many cases, to be clear, that it goes fine. I mean, about as best as you can do. But in some cases, when they get out, they get beaten and stuff like that.
Yeah, right. But I mean, there's a romantic attraction in some cases with this.
Yes, it is fair. It is accurate to say.
Drake? What?
Yeah. So the thing that I was talking about was it's a trend called bailing out baddies, and it's where you take their bail money, put it on a hand of blackjack. And if you win, you bail them out, and if you lose, then you just double it the next time.
Yeah,
that's how
Peter
gambling
was
works.
Telling us there's some Instagram account that's just full of like hot people's mugshots, right?
But it's not like they're murderers and rapists. They're like women who have done excessive speeding or like disorderly whatever, and it's not that. It's
well,
not.
This
like
guy
murder.
seems like a bad dude. What, Brian? You said he's been in and out of the prison system for 17 years.
18 years. 18 years. And here's the thing, and I know Randy's right. I mean, the mugshot heavily tattooed and wanted. But, he just got out. And again,
he sort of has that James Dean look.
Yeah,
he's got that.
I'll direct this, because I know they're listening, Stephanie and Randy. I'll direct this at the Missouri Probation and Parole Board. You knew this man had been in and out of prison for 18 years. And yet he gets paroled, and he has a history of assaulting law enforcement officers, a history of assisting. This is a guy that just got out in mid-June. Look at the active warrants on 93.theeagle.com. There are literally so many. I don't have time to...
They're listed there. It's unbelievable.
It's just, I mean, if they get him, he's not going to get out of the prison because he's got so many. We're talking burglary, property damage, resisting arrest, not to mention running from the cops in Branson this week.
Did they not have some policies and procedures in place when you're like, I could just picture these guys like someone's leaning down there and they're trying to get the ankle bracelet on. Darn it! I just one more hole in that strap. Oh no! There he goes. I mean, come on, send out a patrol. I mean, go. They can't catch the dude.
They did, and they reported immediately, and they did the best they could. Remember, a lot of those are older guys that are doing that. I really don't know who they sent out on that, but they did report it immediately. But he fled, and he's probably getting some help. Let's just put it that way. You can look at the statement from the sheriff's department.
I remember some of those old Warner Brother cartoons. Just shoot your gun at his heels. Do something, stop the guy.
Yeah, it's just he's evaded capture numerous times. They had a manhunt, they had a blockade, and somehow he got through it. So I don't know if he has a military background, but he's evaded numerous capture in the past.
If Rosemond, ROSEMU, if you're listening, I'm looking at your Facebook page because on the comment, if you're listening, Rosemond, would you please call us and tell me why on this report on the Callaway, why did you respond, I'd hide him?
I'm sure the sheriff's department who watches and monitors, I'm sure they're going to have the same question.
This person has all of 273 friends and is standing under a sign on one of the posts that says, "Welcome to colorful Colorado." So, I mean, this is amazing that someone would say they would hide a fugitive like
this. They said it, and I noticed it last night. But it's in.
Brian, have you heard any updates on where they think he might be and if he's still in mid-Missouri?
It's possible. I was in touch yesterday via email with Sheriff Maley, Sheriff Maley in Callaway County, Darrell Maley, and basically they think he is or could be in Branson. They think he could be in Hollister, but it's possible he could be in the Hallsville area as well. No one truly knows, but they do believe probably the Branson area. But the fact that he escaped this week, it got a lot of media attention in the Springfield area. And he escaped. They were chasing him on foot, multiple officers. He's very fast. He's very athletic, and he was able to escape and then just got away, and they couldn't find him.
Probably has that presidential fitness test patch.
Yeah, but it's a shame. The last thing I'd say, because I know you guys got to move on, the last thing I'd say is deputies are emphasizing if you see him, and again, his mugshot's up on our news sites, do not approach him, and if you do see him, you're urged to call 911 or Callaway County Sheriff.
This is amazing. Another woman says, Bodie Moore and everyone who made comments on this acting like y'all ain't ever did. Bodie is my friend. He's really not bad. He has a family and people love him just like everyone else in this world.
That's what they're
just
saying.
Don't cross him, right?
Well, but again, people do, and there are people that support him, and I wasn't aware of the family, but the reality is he has been in and out of Missouri prison since 2007. That is absolutely the case. And he is considered wanted. He is considered dangerous by the sheriff of Callaway County, and they are saying he has a history of assaulting a law enforcement officer.
Do the statutes not allow for whatever level of crime he has over and over to have some kind of permanent? I mean, how many times do you need to be in and out on whatever level charge to say you are not rehabable? You just cannot be reformed.
Well, a lot of it's drugs. And but still, he could be. They could charge him as a persistent offender. They're going to get a lot more on him now with evading the police. Yeah. He's really looking at some serious time now. But again, this is a situation where that they are hoping to find him. If anybody knows where he is, you can let the authorities know.
Mizzou track team would just take all of the meets to get this guy.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks.
Well, Brian knows from his years over at corrections and all that they probation and parole if you interview them, they talk to you about risk assessment on these people. And if their risk assessment doesn't fit the bill, they're out.
I mean, look, it's not really funny, but you just have to laugh at it's comical almost, the fact that this guy keeps getting away, and now when they keep letting him out on parole when he has this history of fleeing and repeated offense. Someone who worked at the Walmart in Fulton saying, I used to catch him stealing all the time.
He seems like, like a lot of those comments are people that seem to have interacted with him or know him. So, I mean, and a lot of people are sticking up for him.
Well,
and criticizing.
We are a country
they
that
have
lives...
a mandatory release date. They let him go. I mean, maybe it's time to reform the parole and probation.
I am proud to live in a country where we live by the rule of law.
There you go. There it is.
Oh boy, we got to feel good about that, right? The rule of law. But don't have a tail light out on your car. They're pulling you over.
Or a too smoky big A truck.
I'm telling you. Oh man, this is like absurd, right? I mean, this is absurd. This is the stuff that they make parodies of on Saturday Night Live. But yet this guy is dangerous, right? I mean, he's got to be dangerous. I hope no one gets hurt as he is seeking refuge. This is the kind of sociopath that's going to hurt someone and charm them into hiding him, and then in some kind of a hostage situation or something, that's the kind of thing that's going to happen. And they're going to say, wish I woulda, coulda, shoulda, maybe kept this guy behind bars. What's it going to take? Hey, what is fiber maxing? We'll talk about that on Make Missouri Healthy Again.
This
So there's a trend on social media, and I know, Stephanie, you are the social media maven of the program.
Very trendy.
So it's trending. This Helene asked me last night, he said, have you seen this fiber maxing? After we spent several times yesterday talking with patients about fiber in the diet and how you can really make a difference in your diet if you just focus, if you do nothing else, just increase the fiber in your diet. And you'll find that you're not eating as much of the other stuff that's not as good for your metabolism.
I thought that's what you did before your colonoscopy was fiber maxing.
It turns out that a little. You don't want to. Fiber maxing is now a real trend where people are doing chia pudding and all kind of interesting things, right? Chia studded puddings, lentil loaded lunches.
That sounds like a cleanse.
It sounds like a colon blow to me, and I think right. you have to be careful about it. The point is, apparently, too much of a good thing can backfire. It can backfire on you. No pun intended. So I think in general, the good news is that fiber awareness is a good thing, right? But there's a lot of. Have you seen influencers on the social media talking about fiber maxing?
I haven't heard the term fiber maxing, but I did, I listened to the Megyn Kelly book not too long ago, and she credits a book about and she sticks to this high fiber diet to stay looking fit.
So we don't get enough of the right kinds of fiber and enough fiber in general. Women should probably have 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. And if you want to have fun, just take time to download an app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer is another one. But you can basically put in there what you're eating. MyFitnessPal, you can put in fast foods and stuff too. I don't think Chronometer you can. And then you can find out like how much fiber, how much protein, how much you can do that. And it turns out that many of us, when we're eating carbs, we're not eating fiber. Like you take the bun on your hamburger, the fiber content of that is hardly anything. Well, I'm eating my grains. It's made out of wheat. Well, it's so pulverized and processed that there's really not much fiber to talk about there. On the other hand, if you eat bread like Ezekiel bread, we love that, like a biblical thing there. There's a nice recipe in the Bible about healthy bread. Dave's Killer Bread is another one we like. And if it looks like it has birdseed in the mix, that's probably a healthier bread for you to do, right? But you don't like that? I love that kind of bread. It's awesome.
I do, but the thought about eating
whole grain is
terrible.
Good. So whole grains, and we don't eat enough beans. You know what they say about beans? Beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. Right? That's good. There's a little. If you're eating enough fiber, you're going to have an active. Colon because the bacteria will eat the fiber that you don't eat. But what happens is what bacteria make when they eat the fiber that you can't digest is they give off things like short chain fatty acids and other fancy names we won't go into that really are very, very healthy. They help make the barrier of your intestine nice and strong so things don't get through into your immune system that shouldn't get there. Probably a big autoimmune connection there, a toxic connection when we're not getting enough fiber. Fiber makes the transit time and stuff going through your intestine, your colon especially, much better. And the longer that, poop is in contact with the colon wall, the more likely you are to develop a cancer. If you don't have enough fiber, you're more likely to get diverticulosis. And diverticulosis can then get infected and it can be diverticulitis. We have patients with that a lot. It's a terrible, terrible problem,
But when I think about eating more fiber, I think about when my kids came home from school and they're like, did you know you can eat the outside of a kiwi? And I'm thinking, why would you do that? It's so tough. And they did. And that's what I think about. Is there a yummy way to eat more fiber that's not eating like fruit rind?
Just think about how good it is for you. The other night, one of the things that Helene does that I love, it really helps me reduce what we eat after maybe the beginning of the meal or the little snack. She'll take and make some homemade, take the soybeans. I mean, where are soybeans? Plentiful in Missouri, right? You buy soybeans. She puts some kind of seasoning all over the husk and then roasts them. Spray them with whatever and roast, make some edamame basically. And then as you're milking the bean out of that, you get the seasoning, whether, a little spicy stuff. And then, but sometimes the roasting sort of makes the husk crunchy. I'll eat the husk. I love the husk. It's great. And if it's
I like edamame, but it's really calorically dense.
Yeah, but it's good for you, and it's a great snack. And if you eat that at the beginning of the meal, if you front load your meals with fiber, it fills you up. It makes you fuller earlier, so you won't eat some of the other stuff that maybe is not as good for you on the plate. So front load with fiber, I think protein too, and
Maybe
that'll really
that's
help.
why, like, I was just Googling because what I like to eat at the beginning of a meal is olive. I love an olive.
Yeah.
And they're pretty high in fiber,
They are.
apparently. That's good. Maybe that's why Europeans are so skinny.
Well, I'm just telling you, it's really good. It's good for your gut health. It's good for your immune health. It's good for anti-inflammation. So if you're going to Fiber Max, ramp it up carefully. Ramp it up carefully. Because no one will want to be in the shuttle bus on the way to the Mizzou game with you if you don't. That's making Missouri healthy again. We'll be back.
video forensic experts we spoke with were skeptical about the report's conclusion and thought that the video could be showing an inmate walking up the stairs. Authorities say this was the last time anyone approached his cell block until his body was discovered the next morning. Again, while the video does not contradict that, experts who viewed the video say the limited field of view makes it impossible to definitively conclude that no one used those stairs in that time period.
Well, the Epstein story is the gift that keeps on giving. It just won't go away. Welcome into Wake Up Missouri. And it's a feel-good Friday, but this is not necessarily a feel-good story, but it really continues to raise questions about what happened with Jeffrey Epstein. What did he commit suicide? Was he snuffed out by people that didn't want him to talk? Dan Bongino said that they were going to come out and make it perfectly clear. They've reviewed the video, and no one went into that, up those stairs to his cell. But yet the angle on the camera, as CBS News is reporting, only covers about, imagine the stairs in your house and a camera catching the stairs as they ascend up to whatever room, and you're only catching maybe 8 inches, maybe 6 or 8 inches of the edge of the stairs, right? And imagine that those stairs are flanked by 2 ways, a hallway on either side, so that, someone could come up on the side that is not within the camera view and sneak up to whatever's up at the top of the stairs. That's the camera view. That's the only camera view that we have of these stairs leading up to Epstein.
I love all my friends in government, but this looks like government work to me, because we probably paid lots and lots of money for these cameras. We're paying someone to watch the cameras, yet the cameras are missing some of the most important angles.
Right.
And it's like, come on, people.
No, they said the jail staff, was remiss in their duties because they'd just taken him off suicide watch a day or so before, and they weren't doing their check-ins, and he didn't have the mandated cellmate to be in there with him, too.
They were supposed to, they have a sign that was there, prominently displayed, that said every 30 minutes you need to do a check. And the data was like, maybe they checked it once or twice during the shift. They just weren't attending to what their duties were supposed to be.
What's the excuse for not having a cellmate? Do they have one?
Maybe not bad enough. Name isn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't want to be
that was their stated policy.
I don't know.
And then what was the line? I'm going back a while, but they said some of the video wasn't even there, and they said it had been deleted because of a clerical error.
Yes.
Which sounded kind of weird.
And convenient, very convenient.
So CBS News got a hold of what was released as raw video, right? Because everyone said, where's that missing minute? It goes from 11:59 to midnight. All of a sudden, there's a missing minute in there.
That's like the most explainable part of this entire Epstein killing himself or not killing himself.
But there's a cursor on this raw video. There's a cursor that's rolling around for a little bit. And they're going, why would a cursor be on a raw footage right out of the DVD, or the disc drive that is supposed to be capturing the closed circuit TV? You shouldn't have a cursor there. That means someone was manipulating the raw. That implies that. So here's a little bit more about what the forensic experts were talking about.
Sometimes one or the other of them exits the camera frame in the direction of the door, all without explanation. We shared this with our forensic experts, who agreed there was no way to conclusively determine from the video whether an unseen visitor was or was not let into the Epstein unit, although both Noel and Thomas have said no one else entered.
So Noel and Thomas are the last names of the 2 attendants there.
And they initially faced charges on this, but I think they threw them all out.
Yeah.
Because they falsified records saying on their log that they visited his cell on a regular basis when they did not.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. I thought that this thing had been sort of put to rest, but it's not. I mean, and of course, CBS News at the beginning of this, 10 or 12-minute report, they play the Bongino on Fox News piece when he says, no, we're going to release the whole thing. It's going to be totally transparent. The light of day will shine on it. So I think it's a little bit of CBS News going, yeah, Fox, take that.
I wondered if they can account for the whereabouts of Bill and Hillary at exactly those times.
John. Well, I don't know.
And they said maybe there was like an unnamed visitor. You don't just like walk into the jail. Like if somebody visited the jail, anybody, right, and is on the side where it's supposed to be secure, surely there's like a log of who was around at the time, right? I mean, you don't just walk into the Cole County Jail, John.
And the evening time is not
let alone like a prison.
Yeah, the evening time is not the time you'd think that if someone were to sneak in because things are hustle bustle, they're bringing in supplies or whatever, maybe someone slips in and puts on some kind of a guard uniform or something. But Drake would know about that. And I just think that you're a prankster. You could do that, wouldn't you, Drake? You'd find a way to find a guard costume, and if you wanted to, right?
I feel like that's pushing it on fraud and impersonating an officer, but I'll give it a shot.
Look on the video; it's a giant pickle sneaking into the jail.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's hard not to start believing some of the conspiracy theories with all of these like conveniences. I think you talked about it in medical terms, Randy. Like the cheese, the Swiss cheese, and sometimes things like. Sometimes in a medical procedure, there's all these protocols where bad things are not supposed to happen, but sometimes all the pieces of Swiss cheese line up so that the holes align and something really bad
and the arrow gets right through and hurts someone.
And this feels like a Swiss cheese thing where like even if like nothing bad was going on, all the Swiss cheese holes were aligned here for like something and that makes it just feel like something weird was going on.
It's just
There's too many coincidences.
It is a circumstance just itching for a conspiracy that is real. I mean, some conspiracies actually turn out to be true, like Russiagate. I mean, when in the world is the media ever going to come clean and say we blew it? Period. If they ever want to regain credibility, that's what it's going to take. I mean, think about it. This thing that happened yesterday, where they released these files from the annex of the Durham. What do they mean by the annex of the Durham report? Is that like a physical place or an amendment?
I think it's an appendix.
They keep saying annex, but it's an appendix, isn't it?
I think that's what it was.
Why do they? The news reports say annex. I don't understand that. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that's what I read. Maybe it was a.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know I did a little bit of research, and Bill Clinton was actually found at Flash Dancers downtown. It is the closest strip club to the prison where Epstein was supposedly killed himself. Yeah. So that's where he was.
And I think Hillary was beta testing some dossier things on golden showers at that time. And she fed that into the AI and said,
Hillary
give me a dossier.
Was with Bill, and she was actually perforing.
Oh gosh. I
Too
want
close to the breakfast hour, right?
Whoa, green puking emoji here.
And for your daily grammar lesson, the word annex can refer to an addition or an attachment, to attach or append something. So,
isn't that weird?
An attachment.
I understand, but don't most people think of an annex as a physical thing? I mean, a place.
I usually talk in terms of exhibits, but sometimes appendices.
Right. Appendix, but annex. I think of the annex.
Or you can also use it, as an annex, as like you annex some property into the city.
But that's what I mean. It's a piece. It's a tangible thing, as opposed to.
As a noun, you can have a building addition, like an annex on a building, or a document addition, an appendix, supplement, or addition to the
I figured
document.
that's what it was, but I don't know. But so what's the difference between an appendix and an annex?
Nothing.
You never do an annexectomy, but you do an appendectomy.
I think it's just like the institution itself.
Yes.
So I think whatever types of reports they must use. When we're at the PSC, we use appendices. When we're in court, we usually use exhibits.
Yes.
I don't know why. That's just
But you've never, you're a wordsmith. I mean, attorneys are that's what they do. Have you ever used the word, Judge, I'd like to offer this up as an annex? No. I don't know why. Well, Durham couldn't find. How is it that's what I don't understand? There was the Mueller investigation. You go into government because you want to serve. You want to serve your country. You love your country.
Because you want the power.
No, you want to serve. You want to serve your country. You want to be a good citizen.
That's not what I got when I was reading the annex yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and Jonathan Turley said this may be, what did he say, the biggest cover up or the biggest scandal in American history. I mean, when he uses those kind of terms, when Turley, a constitutional lawyer, says that gets my attention. It really does.
Most of the media, this is not coverage. It would be a confession. That is, if they actually cover this story, they are confessing their own role in what may be the greatest political hit job in history.
Now, there's been some political hit jobs in history. Watergate. I mean, Watergate, movies made about it. We still talk about Watergate. I mean, Drake, you know Watergate? I mean,
yeah, the scam that you guys used to get him out of office. No, that was a fraudulent. Everything about that.
No,
not real.
I mean, that was a political hit job. Well, it was actually but John, I mean, think about that. It happens at local levels, at state levels, where people will undermine one another. They will find a way to find dirt on someone. And people will cover. Look at what's going on in St. Louis County with Page.
Politics can be a dirty business.
But to have a guy like this say what might be the biggest political hit job in history, in American history, that's a big deal. And you don't see anything reported about it hardly at all on any of the left-leaning media. Zero. Oh, and on the New York Slime, the headline read something, I don't have it up here in front of me, but it was like, the Russiagate continues to expand as a distraction from the Epstein files. Wow, it's amazing. I just don't get it. Hey, at 7:35, we're going to talk with Senator Cindy O'Loughlin. 8 o'clock, Chris Chin. The president signed a historic executive order yesterday. I'm not sure whether it's going to work right away the way he says it will. We'll talk about that when we come back at 7:45.
You're listening to Wake Up Missouri.
We pay an astronomical amount in comparison to other countries around the world. So the president is signing an executive order today that is going to implement most favored nations drug pricing. It is going to reduce the cost of drugs in this country by more than half at least. America is going to pay a better rate and a fairer rate to the rest of the world. That's what the American people deserve. This is huge news. And also, I will add, we know that healthcare costs and drug prices were the #1 driver of Biden inflation. So not only are we bringing those down, but we are ending Biden inflation once and for all.
Biden inflation would be impacted if we could get a handle on healthcare costs. I'm Randy Tobler, Stephanie Bell, John Marsh, and Drake Whitman. We are Wake Up Missouri. We're glad you're with us. Drug costs are high. Not sure how it's going to happen, though, when he put what was the overnight tariff on Switzerland? I think at 39% or something. He's put a pretty good slam on Switzerland, where some of the drugs come from, or at least the companies are headquartered there. And a lot of these European tariffs that are singled out because they're not part of the big EU agreement that he had, could really, I think, maybe counter some of these problems. What happens if those drugs from overseas are not available here? And drug manufacturers here have a bit of a monopoly. He's put out an EO yesterday that basically says, and he wrote a letter to the drug company, executives saying, you have to give most favored nation status pricing.
But the data he cites says that we're paying 3 times what other countries are paying for most brand name drugs, and that pharmaceutical profits that 75% of the pharmaceutical profits come from Americans.
Right. So here's the deal.
Clearly we're overpaying.
Well, here's the deal, though. Think about what happened with the Wegovy and Zepbound and Ozempic and Mounjaro story. Remember, there was an FDA-declared national shortage of these things a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, because the injector devices to inject them, there was a problem with the manufacture of those. It wasn't a shortage of the actual agent, but it was those things. So the FDA said that compounding pharmacists could make that. And compounding pharmacists have always been able to duplicate brand name drugs if you have a special reason, like some of the inert ingredients in the drug from the brand manufacturer you're allergic to, or other various reasons, or you need a different dosing than comes in that preloaded pen. Okay. Well, they allowed a blanket waiver to where compounders could compound that. And people were getting this drug. Some of our patients get that because they can't use what's in the pen. They need an intermediate dose, or they need something added to it to help make it tolerable. So we do that. Doctors around the country and do that for select patients. Well, so people were able to get it for maybe a third, a half, 25% of what that $1,000-ish figure was for the retail cost of Ozempic, the name brand things. Well, now, the national shortage declaration went away earlier this year. And guess what's happened in the meantime? Lilly and Novo Nordisk have now made these things available direct to consumer. So I've done that. You write a prescription, you send it into one of their pharmacy, I faxed it to some number that was not like the local pharmacy, and they're getting it for $400, $500, closer to the price of the compounding now, not quite down to where it is. What does that tell you? What pharma's talking about when pharma says, look, part of the reason our prices are high is because of middlemen, the pharmacy, the PBMs, those pharmacy benefit managers, right? The insurance companies. So there's a lot of middleman stuff going in here. Ask cattle and grain producers about middlemen and what happens. Who's making the money there? Is it the guy and the gal farming the actual commodity? No. So there's a lot to be said. I'm not defending pharma lock, stock, and barrel, but we'll have to see. I think he's got to get at the middlemen as well as the others. John, we'll be back in a minute. Stay tuned. up in the meantime and ask what her thoughts are about redistricting mid-census for the state of Missouri. She's the Senate President pro tem, of course. Welcome into the program, Cindy. Thanks for joining us on a Feel Good Friday.
Good morning, Randy. Thanks for having me on.
Are you feeling good about redistricting or not?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that. There will be people with conflicting views about that. The governor hasn't issued any call about it, and I haven't spoken with him yet about it. But if he decides to pursue that, of course, we will we'll go along with him.
Yeah.
So I think that, the biggest concern that people have, first of all, the Senate doesn't like to do something out of the ordinary like that because it's viewed as, just not listening to the other side, not working with other people, and I understand why they would feel that way. On the other hand, if you look at what's been happening in the country, it's alarming to think of Congress with just a very small majority and perhaps losing that. And then looking back to see what happens when the Democrats are in control at the federal level. I mean, it's frightening.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at what President Trump has accomplished, whether you like him or you don't, he's a business person, which, I'm fully supportive of that. And I felt like he saved the country, really.
Yeah.
I mean, so many terrible policies had been put in place, and it seemed like we were about to go over the cliff into full-out socialism. And if you look at the leadership at the federal level in the Democrat Party, they fully support that. They want to destroy the free market. They want to implement price controls. This is Hakeem Jeffries, one of their leaders. They want to excessively regulate fossil fuels, which really are the only reliable, except for nuclear. They're the reliable power generating substances, so they try to cut all of that off. I mean, let's don't forget, they're the authors of the Green New Deal, the Inflation Reduction Act, which was bizarre. And they continually vilify President Trump and try to block everything that he does, which actually is good for America. So when you look at that, it is frightening, and it does make you think you have to do whatever you can to keep that from happening.
Is that to say that you would not repel an effort to reconsider this if the governor called a special session?
No, I would not.
Right.
I would not repel that idea. I would totally understand why they feel it's necessary. And if you look around the country, I mean, Democrats do the same thing. So
what are the challenges to it, to getting that done?
Well, you've got to have 18 people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to have 18 people to pass anything in the Senate, so you have to have 18 people who agree that it's important and are willing to vote to do it.
And the likelihood you get any Democrats is zero, I think.
Oh, no, you won't get any Democrats. No. I mean, that to me is not even a possibility.
Right.
Senator, while we're talking to you, can you comment on Mike Moon and et al.'s battle to keep the Chiefs and Royals of Missouri in the lawsuit they filed in Cole County Circuit Court? Did this catch you off guard?
Well, I'm getting to the point where almost nothing catches me off guard or surprises me. I know that, there's people who felt that trying to make any offer to keep the Chiefs and Royals in Missouri was something that we shouldn't do, and I'm not going to minimize their opinion. I'm not really surprised about the lawsuit, and I have not actually read it. I just got a little note about it. Actually, I'm in Jeff City now, and we'll be looking at it later on today. But there's a continual effort to try to keep bills really narrow and to meet what one person might judge to be constitutional. And that, of course, can really be kind of difficult to do, and the judgment can vary from one thing to another. I guess that's why we have the courts. I felt that what we passed was constitutional. I know that Mike often questions things like that, like constantly, actually, and we'll find out if the court agrees with him or not.
Back to the redistricting question, the Missouri Times is reporting this morning, redistricting special status very likely. So first, I want to ask you if you agree with that analysis. And then there's also been some question, I know at least a call by the Freedom Caucus, that beyond redistricting, other things be added into that call, like initiative petition reform. So do you agree that the special session status is very likely? And how likely then would it be that it be confined to a single issue versus maybe address additional issues?
I agree that it's likely. As far as expanding it to more than one thing, I haven't even talked to the other senators about it. I mean, the first notification I had that this was even being considered was sort of through political gossip, and I saw that, you know, some of the congressmen were talking about it, and, you know, lots of things run downhill. So I thought, well, this will be ending up in our neighborhood here before long, and it has. The initiative petition question or topic is something that, you know, we've been concerned about for a long time. Do we have a solution that both sides of the, both the House and the Senate agree on? Do we have that solution? I'm not sure that we do. But what's happening in the initiative petition process is the things that the Missouri legislature will not pass are then brought onto a ballot by the petition process, and that process is in general driven by very progressive interests from both coasts in the country and funded with multiple millions of dollars. So it's not really a citizen-led effort. It's an effort by progressives to defeat conservative law in Missouri. So it's very concerning, and it has really affected our state. And we do talk about how do we preserve the integrity of people being able to put something on the ballot compared to how do we stop progressives from coming into our state and, you know, naming a person and then pouring the money into our state to try to pass something. And when they do pass something, invariably, there's no way they can put all of the wording on the ballot. So people hear one thing and think, oh, yeah, you know, I'm in support of that. And they don't understand the other 19 pages of law that then goes into our Constitution.
Let's talk about timing, though, because, I mean, it's August 1st, right? And so there's not that much time to do a special session. You said you hadn't really spoken with the governor about the call or necessarily talked to the other senators about these other issues. When is that decision going to be made? Whether
soon.
or not soon. Okay.
Very soon, I would say. As I said, I'm in Jeff City now, so, you know, I'll be in the Capitol today, and I'm sure there will be discussions about this.
We'll have to see.
A call can be issued, and you know, we can go into a session anytime. So,
Cindy,
I don't know that. Go ahead.
In the last couple of minutes we have, we're running out of time, but I did want to talk with you about that President Trump the other day said that he's tired of windmills. They ruin the landscape. I mean, I think that was his big thrust. But they also are unreliable, as far as reliable power. You referenced it earlier. Any movement towards removing, or at least putting a halt to any more of that kind of development in Missouri, or is that pie in the sky?
I don't think it's pie in the sky. If you look at what's happening, renewable energy is trying to get into Missouri big time, especially now that Trump is cutting the money off for the subsidies. So you're going to see a rush from so-called green energy firms. There's no public notice. They basically come in and talk to people, basically under the cover of darkness. Neighbors don't know anything about it. There's no really environmental or economic impact study done, even though they say they do that. I mean, there's just a lot of things about that to me seem a little bit underhanded, whether you support green energy or not. And I'm calling for at least a moratorium on any more installation of these until we really look at the long-term effects of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, I just think that we've got to. It's just you look across the landscape, and it's just ruining the landscape. It's not reliable. It's a boondoggle. I'm glad you're on top of it. Thanks for that. Well, we'll be keeping an eye on things, and I'm sure talking more with you in the future as things unfold, whether it's about redistricting or windmills or you name it, and you're always on top of it. Thanks, Cindy O'Loughlin. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Wow, lots going on. Just because they're not in session doesn't mean that they're not doing things, right? Always busy. John, what's happening when we come back?
Well, with college football right around the corner, hey, Coach, need a kicker? Check the stands.
Oh, boy, that'll be fun. All right, that when we come back on Wake Up Missouri.
This
Sports.
Matt Williams was walking away, the Texas Tech student, near the end of the ramp leading from the field back to the stands at Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock. He was ready to retake his seat off to the side of the end zone, prepared to return to being a normal college kid, albeit a slightly richer one. He was even on the phone with his mom, who was in the stadium watching the Red Raiders host Massachusetts. And Williams had just won a contest at random, getting pulled onto the field in front of 53,000 fans and draining a 30-yard field goal to win free rent. Right before he reached the end of the ramp, a Texas Tech assistant coach caught up to him. He said, "Hey, Leach wants to talk to you." And the kid said, "Mike Leach, Red Raiders head coach?" And he said, "Yeah, Leach wants to talk to you." 5 weeks later, he was kicking for Texas Tech.
Wow.
He did have to give up the free rent to be eligible. At the same time, not to diminish our Tigers, Mizzou fans might remember walk-on kicker Jeff Wolfert, who was there on a diving scholarship at Mizzou and went on to set single-season scoring records for the Tigers. An addendum to this story, Texas Tech, the Red Raiders went on to have a pretty good quarterback a few years later, some kid named Mahomes.
Oh, boy.
Now you know the rest of that story.
Wow. Huh.
This
I remember
reminds
Jeff Wolfert setting just those records about the same time at Ole Mizzou.
I don't know about riches, but in a way, that's sort of a rags to riches story, right? That's an American story there.
Yeah, and we've all
cool.
seen the thing where they pick somebody out of the stands and they have this, try to do a 25-yard or a 30-yard boot and it goes way wide or dribbles across. This guy drained it and got a starting job on the team out of it.
I'd always like to believe that, like, at concerts, when they pick someone to duet with, like, the main act, they're always like, "Oh, I can sing that song, I can sing that song," and they're like, they're never bad. They're always, like, amazingly good. So I wonder, like, is there a pre-screen?
How random that is.
It can't be because, like,
not
most
on the field
people,
goals. If you've ever seen some of those squibs, some of those people
They
have
shank
kicked.
it everywhere, yeah.
I mean, most people can't sing. And so I want to believe, like, that person's just randomly like, "I know all the words. I can sing your song. I sing in perfect pitch."
Yeah.
But they're like a plant,
I
right?
think so. Yeah, it has to be.
Or the kid who comes up out of the crowd and borrows the guitar from the lead guitar player and just nails it.
Yeah, right. They just happen to randomly pick someone with virtuoso talent. Yeah, just randomly. Make sure you
who knew their whole set list perfectly.
Row 6, aisle B, seat 23.
If you talk to people, well, like on The Price is Right? Like there's a screening for who actually gets to go down and do the thing, and you have to look a certain way and act a certain way. I mean, those people are all screened ahead of time.
They are. They have to be.
There's a little bit of showbiz and sports and concerts and
a lot of bit of showbiz.
Well, that story, John, reminds me of Arizona State just this last season. I mean, their head coach, after midway through the season, he went on and said, "Hey, we're holding open tryouts because our kicker is so bad." And a couple weeks later, they had a completely different kicker. So, I mean, this does happen more often than you'd think.
Who was a barefooted guy back in the day in the NFL? I can't remember his name, but he was kind of pretty much a walk-on in college and all that, went on to kick.
Barefooted soccer-style kicker, right? I think so.
Yeah, exactly. God, what was his name?
It wasn't Stenerud, was it?
No, Stenerud.
Yeah, you're right. There was
the Chiefs' longtime kicker, but he was soccer-style kicker.
Well, we don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but the left is going to be giddy with glee. The economy added just 73,000 jobs when the expectations were over 100,000. Unemployment rate ticks up to 4.2%. That just out. I'm sure we'll be talking about that a lot next week and later on today. Don't forget to get your winners and losers ready for 8:35. Coming up, Chris Chin from Department of Agriculture going to the State Fair. pushed, and we're hearing your voice. That's wonderful. Thanks for joining us. So I guess you're going to be like sleepless in
Sedalia.
In Sedalia, right? Sleepless in Sedalia here. That's a new movie we'll have to do for the next few days, right?
Absolutely. We are going to be busy, and we're excited for the kickoff of the State Fair next Thursday morning. We've got a great lineup, and we can't wait to welcome so many Missourians to the State Fairgrounds.
Talk to us about what's new this year. Obviously, there was some talk during the budget. There's been some new facilities changes. I think one of the arenas was closed last year. What for folks who've been going to the State Fair for some time, what improvements can we see this year, or what's new, and what are we seeing going forward?
Well, the biggest improvement that you'll notice at the Missouri State Fairgrounds this year is the Governor Michael L. Parson Arena being constructed. So the warm-up arena is already up and ready, and they are constructing the big arena right now. We're actually going to send our tram route through that area so that fairgoers can watch that construction in progress and be a part of that. We're also going to have some times where we're going to be giving tours through there. So we're really excited about that. We hope that facility will be finished next July. So in the 2026 fair, you will get the opportunity to be inside that facility and see what an amazing facility it is.
Talk to us about what events go on in that facility.
So normally we have rodeos that go on in that. We have bull riding, a demolition derby, motocross, TNT races, very expanded variety of events that happen. So you have your rodeo events to your motocross. So very different, but it's something for everybody at the Missouri State Fair.
I read about some new and returning favorites, and then I saw the word free entertainment connected with that. That sounds good. I like that. Tell us about some of the free stuff that folks can indulge in there.
Yeah, we always have free entertainment on the fairgrounds. So you can go to some of our mini tents like the Touchstone Energy Tent, the Superior Sleep Stage, the Kids Stage. All of those events are free, and we're really excited about the lineup that we have. A favorite is always the Honey Bear Dancers for kids. We get many requests for them year after year. There'll be a little bit of something for everybody. The Dave Perryman and the Country Review musical acts. Simply 3 Missouri Fiddling Championship will also be there on August the 17th. So a wide variety. On the kids stage, we also have Mr. Stinky Feet. Little kids love him. So we want to make sure that there's something for everyone in the family, from a very young person. And we always love to have something to take our experienced fairgoers back to their youth as well.
Can you reserve a seat for Drake? He'd like one. Reserve a seat at the Jim Mr. Stinky Feet Cosgrove show, if you would. He'd like to have that.
The front row is buckets, so we'll make sure we reserve a bucket for Drake.
Yes.
Chris Chin joins us now. She's the director of the Department of Ag, and we're talking about Missouri State Fair.
Chris, I know when my kid was little, with everything from corn dogs to the Midway and all, his favorite thing was the racing pigs. Are they back this year?
They are. We cannot have the State Fair without the racing pigs. Hedrick's Racing Pigs will be there in the same spot over between the Coliseum and the Highway Patrol building. You'll be able to find the pig races.
Now, we've talked a little bit about entertainment for kids, but certainly some entertainment not only for kids but adults as well. You've got a huge concert lineup this year. Who are you looking most forward to seeing?
Well, I think, it's really hard as the director of ag to be able to really enjoy a concert during the state fair. But John Party is going to be a favorite. He's on the last Saturday night. The Blues Travelers and the Gin Blossoms, that's kind of back in my era. They consider that classic music, classic rock now. Winona Judd is going to be kicking off the fair this year. She's going to be a favorite for many. And then, of course, on Tuesday night, we have John Anderson, so that's going to be some old-time country music, so a little bit of a variety for everybody. Flo Rida is going to be there, so we think that that's going to bring a different crowd to the State Fair, which is what we want. We want there to be something for everybody at the Missouri State Fairgrounds.
And I see also Oliver Anthony, who'd be familiar to lots of our family members, as we talked a lot about his big hit, Richmond, north of Richmond. I actually saw him at the Ozark Amphitheater down near Camdenton a few years ago, and people are like, doesn't that guy just have one song? No, the concert was incredible, so check that one out too.
Great. Well, thanks for that. I honestly have to admit, I had not listened to Oliver Anthony before. Now, my children, they knew exactly who it was, but that was a new one for me.
I'm getting a kick looking at you think about the cost of a good time for the family. You go to a movie, you go to, my goodness, a sporting event, and you're going to spend hundreds of dollars. I'm looking here, tickets at the door are what, $15 for adults? Still advanced tickets still purchasable now at $12. Is that right, Chris?
That is right. You can get
amazing.
Up until August 6th, you can buy advanced tickets for $12.
Yeah.
You can buy those at the Missouri State Fair box office, break time convenience stores, Baumgar's, and the Family Center Farm and Home in Sedalia.
John and Peter can get senior tickets for $10. We got single day adult tickets, $15. John's breaking up over here. Youth. Drake, you get youth tickets for $4. Oh, no, wait, no. Kids under 5, free. Drake, you can just walk in. Not a problem. You're good.
Well, and I think it is kind of for folks in the agriculture community. I think it's kind of like a family reunion, and that's one thing. I don't live on a farm. I didn't grow up on a farm, but I like to take my kids and just walking around in the various barns, seeing the exhibitions, seeing the other kids exhibit their animals. I found folks there to be just so generous with their time. My kids have lots of questions, and everyone seems happy to be there and happy to teach others about their work and about what they do in Missouri and about the industry.
You're exactly right, Stephanie. If you take the time to go through our livestock barns, you're going to find that the exhibitors in those barns love to talk about what they do, and they are happy to share their experience raising the livestock and help people understand why they do what they do. That's my favorite place on the fair is inside those show barns, because the enthusiasm and the passion that you'll find with the 4-H and FFA exhibitors just really shows you what the future of agriculture is going to be, and it's going to be very strong.
And of course, I know Randy's favorite spot is probably the Gherkin Dairy Barn, where you can get a really nice scoop of ice cream, Randy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the butter sculpture. Do we know what the butter sculpture is going to be this year?
No,
they switch it up a little bit.
Secret.
Oh,
that is the best kept secret on the Missouri Fairgrounds. You would think, being director of agriculture, that we would be privy to that information, but we will not know what it is until opening morning when they unveil it.
That's a bit of saturated fat we'll approve of. That's okay. and we were talking about prices. So the general admission, very, very affordable. And I don't know. I don't go to concerts really very much at all, Stephanie, but you do. And the concert ticket prices are unbelievably affordable too, right? So it's really good. Winona Judd is going to open it up, huh? When is that? Thursday? Is that right?
Thursday, August the 7th. And you can get a State Fair concert ticket anywhere from $25 up to $60. No, wait, $80. I'm sorry. John Party, some of his tickets do go up to $80.
Yeah.
But we also have Hudson Westbrook that's going to be there, and you can get one of his tickets anywhere from $35 to $50. So very affordable.
Well, there you go. So there'll be entertainment for all ages, very affordable. And just there's no more wholesome experience than going to the Missouri State Fair. That website is mostatefair.com, mostatefair.com. Now, will you be there the whole time, Chris? Are you hanging out, or I guess you've got to supervise everything, right?
I will be there. We actually move our office out of Jefferson City to Sedalia for the 2 weeks of the State Fair. So my entire team will be up there. Just there to support the Sedalia State Fair team, but also to help answer any questions that fairgoers might have about the Department of Agriculture, the work we do, or what events are happening that week on the fairgrounds.
Talk to us a little bit about the governor's ham breakfast, always a highlight of the State Fair.
It is, and we're really excited. This is going to be Governor Kehoe's first ham breakfast. Every governor makes that event what they want it to be, and so we're excited to showcase the changes that Governor Kehoe wants to have at the ham breakfast and invite fairgoers to that event. There are some tickets left for it, so you can buy them online. You can go to the State Fair website to find a link for that, or you can go to the box office to buy them as well.
Wow, what a great time. And again, that starts on Thursday, August 7th, and runs through?
The 17th, Sunday the 17th. And we have half-price admission on the 7th and the 17th, so very affordable to come on the first or the last day as well.
Oh, what a great time. Hey, thanks for all the hard work for you and your staff. Please give the best to them and our kudos to them. And thank you for really leading what is going to be a great, great event, and all the other great work you do at the Department of Agriculture. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Rest up before the big thing starts. All right.
I can't wait.
Nothing like downwind of the hog barns on a balmy August day in Sedalia.
You know what they say? That's the smell of money.
Boy, does it smell.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we've got the news out on the employment figures, on the unemployment rate. And so might be, well, just listen up when we come back with the market report. You may not be as happy as you were with the GDP report. I won't say any more. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Wake Up Missouri.
The morning bell tolls for us. What does it say?
Stocks took a little bit of a dive yesterday, as today is officially kind of maybe the tariff deadline. A couple of those deadlines have been kicked, but we saw a drop in the Dow of 0.74%, the S&P down 0.37%, the NASDAQ down 0.03%. Amongst the biggest losers were health, real estate, and materials, while utilities and communication services were up yesterday. As we look at the futures this morning, we are seeing everything pretty significantly in the red. And that is obviously due to the tariff news, but also we got the jobs report in this morning, Randy, and it's not pretty. U.S. hiring was weak in July is the headline in the Wall Street Journal, with just 73,000 jobs added, below what our expectations were. And so we will be, they had hoped for 100,000 jobs, but significantly under that number. So not great. And as we look toward the weekend, I think this company should get an A+ for their company name. But technology might be coming to your bathroom, Randy.
Really?
In more ways, public bathrooms.
Ooh.
Now, you've done a lot of traveling, and I hate the pay to play. Like if you really have to go potty that you have to pay. I still feel like when I go into a gas station, I'm not getting gas. You should probably buy something if you're going to use the restroom. But when you go to foreign countries and you have to pay to even use the restroom, I don't know how many times I thought, I don't really need an Aperol Spritz at 11 a.m., but I need to go pee, and that's the fastest way is to walk in somewhere and buy something, and usually over there it's a drink. And then you're like, okay, now I can use the bathroom. Well, this company called Throne Labs is deploying their mobile bathrooms across cities in America. They've got them in L.A. and Ann Arbor, Michigan, who's already contracted with additional bathrooms. And they say they're working great. And this is a problem, we have all the time. You put a public restroom in. I know Jefferson City struggled with it, John, in their parking garages when I did a lot of work with downtown. Ashland struggled with it with their park bathrooms and just people defacing or damaging the bathrooms or not cleaning up after themselves. And, you spend all this money and, in places like downtown Jefferson City and Ashland, whose responsibility is it to keep those things clean? It's a tough situation. So these new bathrooms apparently have a unique, you don't have to pay. They are quote unquote locked, but you have some sort of personal identifier on your phone that you can get via an app or text messages. And that tells the company that it's you who's using it. So you get an Uber rating, if you're a jerk, then the drivers don't have to come pick you up. You can get a bad potty rating where you're banned from using them if you don't clean up after yourself. So
I checked the app out. It says in-toilet purchases. Maybe they may have those.
You may play devil's advocate on it. You wonder about the growing homeless population where these things would have on their efficacy.
So they have smoke detectors inside the smart bathroom to make sure you're not smoking in the bathroom. They have occupancy sensors, so that the time limit on the bathroom is any session can only be 10 minutes, so you can't camp out in there. They have after the 10 minutes the door pops open, which is kind of terrifying. And everyone in the app is supposed to rate the cleanliness of the bathroom. That way they can identify if the person before you didn't clean up after themselves.
Oh boy.
And that contributes to the rating.
It's a shame game.
Well, and it says if you say the bathroom's not clean, then they dispatch an employee to come service the bathroom to clean it up. And then I think it's got built in water sprayers on the floor that it self cleans every so often.
How about bidets? I know you like those. Got any bidets in there?
This one doesn't appear to have a
model?
bidet. It does have some nice wallpaper on the inside, but it looks like a little mobile unit.
So this would be an upscale porta potty.
Yeah. And it's actually it's not a porta potty, but I think it has its own but similar.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting way to try to. It's a nice one.
Oh yeah.
Wonder how that compares to the urinals on the street in London and those kinds of places.
Yeah, I don't know.
They said they've been deployed, I think, they said they're similar to some bathrooms that I guess Paris uses. They've been in Canada, but there's a guy who oversees city operations in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He said the city tested 10 thrones in a year-long program that included 100,000 uses and ended up signing a 5-year contract to keep them. So the response has been overwhelmingly positive. I like this.
Big question. Is there a like an extender on the Wi-Fi to make sure the cell phone works?
Or a bidet?
Yeah. I mean, you probably have to, who's paying for these?
The city. Just like they would regularly for a public restroom.
Okay. So, and then there's just a monitoring system.
Yeah, I like this plan.
I like that. Okay. Well, there you go. There's a vote. Maybe this could, why don't you bring this up at the next city council meeting?
Okay.
Okay. Stephanie will be at the next city council meeting. Winners and losers when we come back.
Has America been fair?
and losers of the week.
Every Friday at this time on Wake Up Missouri, we ask you for your nominations for winners and losers, and we will offer some of ours as well. So it is that time now, and we have a lot to talk about in that realm. Let's see. Stephanie, you're up first. Who do you have?
Okay, my losers of the week are the women on our 93.9 The Eagle Facebook page in response to a story that this mid-Missouri guy is the most wanted guy now by the Callaway County Sheriff. His name is Gary Bodie Moore. He got away, I guess, yesterday, and we are hunting for him. And there are ladies who are saying, I would harbor him at my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd hide him. Woo, man.
No, thank you.
I don't know. One of the posters said, I'd hide him. Woo.
Yep.
Man.
That's what they said.
That's courageous.
All right, losers of the week. Don't harbor the criminals. You can, ladies, have some self-respect. You can do better than that.
I know you think you can fix us, but this is going a little too far.
All right, one of my winners of the week, Randy, you've been super down on the NIL funding, and I think your take is that it's ruining sports or whatever. But my winner of the week goes to Damon Wilson, who had played at Georgia, entered the transfer portal, committed to Missouri in January. So he will start this fall with the Tigers. And he made a donation to the youth football program in his hometown using NIL dollars. They were doing fundraising. They wanted some matching contributions, and he's kicking some of his own NIL money into, who helped give him his start.
Good for him.
He's one of my winners of the week.
That is a winner.
Stephanie, say that name again.
Damon Wilson.
Yeah. God, that's fantastic.
I think Damon Wilson the second, technically.
That is just tremendous.
He began his football journey at the youth level in Venice, Florida. Then he played at Georgia, and now he's transferring to Mizzou. Mm-hmm. But they said he's donated more than, I think, totaling something around $10,000 for matching donations to help the Venice Vikings youth team.
Yeah. Great program and a great athlete. It's great.
Super good. Wow, that's good news. Great news. And that's the way to use that kind of money, right? To make a difference in the world. How many Lamborghinis can an NIL recipient have, after all?
Well, not a lot for $10,000, but
well, $10,000. Yeah, come to think of it, that won't buy a lot of Lamborghini. You might get like a tire. I don't know.
And someone helped, as he pointed out, Stephanie's right, and someone coached him and helped him along the way. He's trying to help. He's paying it forward.
Fantastic. That's super good. John, who do you have on your winners and losers list?
I got a couple winners and a show-nuff loser. A forgotten lottery ticket jammed in a pants pocket turned out to be a winner for a Boone County man. He said he bought it at the big box store on his way home from work. His ticket ended up matching 4 of the 5 white balls in the Powerball, and he walked away with $50,000.
Man, nice.
Maybe you should cut the kid a little slack for all the time he spends playing video games. A Mexico, Missouri teen has now signed a letter of intent to play esports for Moberly Area Community College. He's 18-year-old Brian Bynum. And this guy, our loser, maybe next time let the repo man take it. This guy from Avaz facing charges after shooting off a gun when his trailer was being repossessed. Oh, no. He's accused of firing shots and then chasing the repo man down the street in his car. Wow. No one was hurt.
Oh, wow. What are people thinking? Oh, gosh. Well, don't worry. There'll be someone that would like to hide him once he gets out.
There you go.
I'm going to offer my winners here.
Okay.
I think America's children are going to be winners when the presidential fitness test comes back. The president has reinitiated that. I know a lot of us struggled with that, but you know what? It does instill, I think, that notion, and it validates it when it's coming from the White House and the Presidential Council on Fitness, and all the people were there, from Lawrence Taylor to the golfer to Annika Sorenstam to a lot of good. Triple H was there. So when we have athlete leaders and the president banding together, say, hey, kids, let's get moving and let's get in shape. That's going to be a good thing. It'll help them academically. It'll help them physically. So good for that. Good for President Trump for reinitiating that. Losers actually may be America's patients and healthcare people, especially independent providers. Drake thought he was doing me a big favor yesterday when he said, President Trump is saying that we're going to mandate. He mandated an executive order that now everyone needs to have this common software platform, yet to be determined, of healthcare people, that you can instantly zip records. If Brian shows up in an emergency room in Tuscaloosa he can get those records. You know what? That's going to engender a lot of expense. We tried to do that with the HITECH Act, and it would cost incredible amounts of money. I know that.
Can you say HIPAA?
HIPAA. Well, and it's going to be incredibly expensive. That can raise your bills. It can cause more frustration. You know, there's this ancient tool, Stephanie, ancient tool that has worked for 30-some-odd years. We call it the fax machine, and that'll work just fine. All the president has to say is, hey, just make sure you get the records out there when someone needs them. Not a problem.
Have you ever tried to use a fax machine?
All the time. I e-fax everything effortlessly.
And
I'm a master of the e-fax.
Still work. They still work.
There you go.
Bring up an interesting point.
All right. Drake.
Yeah, so I got 2 winners, and just to comment on the fax machine, you know, I could imagine me and Stephanie having as much trouble as that as you do with normal technology, so I guess we're even.
I got no problem with normal technology.
Oh, sure. So my first winner is going to be you, Randy.
Oh,
it's going to be you because last time you were at Golden Corral, I saw you come back with 7 plates, 7 full plates.
I've never been to Golden
Everyone
Corral.
listening right now, give Randy as much crap as possible.
Golden Corral. I've never been to Golden Corral.
He will
Hauswirth and I
clean
need to
the
go
buffet.
There.
He will clean the buffet.
I don't go to buffets.
Yeah, you need.
I know my weaknesses.
You need to practice what you preach, Randy. And my second winner,
gosh, making it up. This is Corralgate hoax.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, sure.
We've been talking about going. I don't think we've been there yet.
No.
Yeah, and you're not going to give me as much hate for this one.
Okay.
I'm going to say every good red-blooded American, because football is back, baby. We've been waiting for so long, half a year. We have 28 weeks straight of football, and I've never been more excited.
All right.
M-I-Z.
Amen.
There you go. Won't take long. Brian?
I've got a couple here, and I concur with that. Stephanie, by the way, on a serious note, it brings up a great point, and it is on our Facebook page. Women saying they would harbor this fugitive. I'm just going to remind the people listening and the women that would be a felony if you do that. I mean, I know they're saying they want to or would, but I mean, in all seriousness, this guy is considered dangerous.
I think when they do that, we would call it an F-E-L-L-A-N-Y, a fella.
Yeah, and it is, and it's just, it's a serious issue. But
that's terrible. I mean, what are they thinking?
It's just, and they're on the sheriff's department page doing it as well. The Facebook page. So, and of course, he personally monitors that. So, got a couple quick winners. Number one, Stephanie and Randy. Phenomenal interview this week. I always do a great job. John, too. Nick Schroer. I thought that was just a fascinating interview when he said, because Chuck Hatfield, attorney I respect quite a bit, fairly progressive guy, but he has said publicly on my Twitter thing that, it's prohibited by the Constitution. Schroer told you both that there's nothing in the Constitution would prevent Republicans from doing this. And Cindy O'Loughlin today just more or less left the door open that could happen. So we'll see. But I thought that was really...
And yet wasn't she in the, quote, leadership when there was a lot of consternation and leadership opposed that? And I felt a little movement. Maybe Donald Trump's been making some calls. I don't know. I felt a little movement this morning.
I think the White House has certainly called Chad Perkins based on an article in Independent. So we'll see what happens on that. 2 other quick winners. In our Springfield area, I've been filling in on KWTO. The city of Springfield is going to have a big event coming up, Randy, called the Birthplace of Route 66 Festival. It's a huge event. Oh, my God. They got a parade next week, and Mayor Jeff Fogg, it's pronounced like Fogg, Schrog, will be the Grand Marshal. Festival is next Friday and Saturday, August 8th and 9th, but it's a great event, and they got a lot of music as well. But the mayor down there is going to be the Grand Marshal for that.
Great.
In Ozark, Empire Fair, 2 more days left with the Springfield Fair. Carnival opens today at 1. It is a huge event. And I have one more thing I am pleased to announce. I just got word this week. I'll obviously be back on the Missouri broadcast this fall doing scoreboards, but I've been added to the Colorado Buffaloes broadcast.
Hey. Wow.
Deion Sanders has a really good really good team. I know some people don't like him. Many do. It depends. He's kind of, people either like him or not. But I will tell you they have a great team. But I'll be doing their scoreboards for Colorado.
One caution for you, Brian.
Yes, sir.
5th downs.
I understand. Just got to be careful talking about that.
By the way, can we say that Deion Sanders, no matter what you think about him, is a winner for the courage to talk about his bladder cancer, the removal of his bladder, very transparent about the fact that it's going to prevent some hardships for him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you talk about a a model of resiliency. How many people struggle with these kinds of things when health care concerns absolutely turn their life upside down, and they battle through, and they serve as an example for others that all of us at one point or another will struggle with health care concerns, and I think this is inspirational.
I
It's
totally
really
agree.
cool.
And Randy, he said publicly, urges people to go to the doctor, get checked, and he thanked God. He's very religious, credits the Lord for what happened.
No, absolutely. And we should say, I think the Show Me Institute and everyone who shows up at the Understanding the Golden Age event today will be great. If you've signed up, don't forget it starts, the doors will open at 11:30. And then Brenda Talent, the CEO of Show Me, will be there. And, of course, Aaron Hedlund, who is really the chief economist at the President's National Council of Economic Advisors. That's a big deal. And with we had GDP news, we had, a pause continues on Fed rates, and today's job numbers. By the way, the job numbers have been revised downward from the past couple of months as well. So this will be interesting to see what Aaron has to say today.
Indeed.
So hope to see everyone there. And Show Me is always my winner because of their values and their values in governance, limited government, and I think it's great. Free markets as well. So when we come back, I've got another winner, and he might just be on the Kansas City Chiefs. He said something to a little kid the other day. It'll warm your heart.
This is
training camp, and I guess there are some opportunities for fans and kids to interact with the players. I caught Patrick Mahomes interacting with, what's he look like? Maybe a fifth, sixth grader, not sure. And the kid asks him, "Hey, I got a question."
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, what's up? If I want, what goal should I set?
I think the best goal that I've always set is just being great at everything. Not just football, not baseball, but I competed at school. Like, I wanted to make straight A's so I could beat other people in that. And then if it was being with my family, being the best brother that I could be. So whatever you do, just want to be the best at that. And I think that pushes you to be the best at football and being where I'm at today.
Yeah, just be the best you can be. That's good.
School, on and off the field.
Yeah, he took time to talk to a little tyke. That was good to see. Now, you found an interesting little
Yeah, I have another winner.
You have
nomination,
another winner?
And my other winner nomination is Eric Schmidt. There was a recall because some people thought they were drinking Celsius energy drinks, and it turns out that they were actually drinking High Noon vodka sodas. There was a little bit of a mix-up, and of course, the media in D.C. only asks our senators about the really important things, and Schmidt got asked about this week.
So they're like in the tunnel, it looks like, under the Senate, and a reporter asks Eric a question about Celsius.
Sir, do you drink Celsius?
I do. I'm not going to be like a big Celsius guy. I know Mike Johnson is like a spokesperson for Celsius at this point.
Are you familiar with the recall, though? Apparently, hard, like vodka sodas were accidentally put. The FDA has now recalled a number of Celsius.
More attractive to me, actually, if it was a vodka soda.
Would you like one?
I'll take it, sure. Thank you very much.
And then he's
one of the recalled ones.
Not sure.
Let us know. Well, maybe I'll have a taste.
He asks if it's one of the recalled ones.
And he says, yeah, that would make Celsius more attractive to me if it was a vodka soda. And I think his ability to just kind of improv and be a real person, I think really was shining through there, and I appreciated his sense of humor.
I think it's fair to say that may be why he seems to be a bro of Donald Trump, right?
It was very J.D. Vance-esque, that interaction.
Yeah, and I think the willingness for a politician in high place to let their hair down and just be a guy, just be a normal guy or a normal gal. It's just that's a particular skill. But yet he can have a lot of gravitas too, right? I mean, he can just lay it out there when it comes to the legal matters and constitutional matters. I wonder
if he gets on the hard Celsius, he could take his triple bagger triples into maybe home runs.
I don't know.
There you go.
Or too much of that, he might swing and miss. You never know.
Not Eric Schmidt.
I don't know. Get enough of that High Noon in there.
So, yeah, if you got Celsius or High Noon, maybe check the label and check the recall.
How in the world does that happen? I picture, there's this
like
big...
a bottling issue.
I know, there's this big bottling facility. A lot of that's automated. Does someone have to, turn the spigot from High Noon to Celsius and someone didn't turn it back? I don't know.
I have no idea. There's a trend going on social right now on TikTok that says, you seem happier now. And it says, thanks, whatever. And there was one yesterday and a gal's in the office and it's like, you seem happier. Thanks. I thought I was drinking a Celsius at work, but instead I've been drinking vodka soda.
There was another one of the stories that made the rounds this week of a pizza place had to do some refunds to some of their people, and it turned out their kitchen was shared by the dispensary that was making happy brownies and happy cookies, and apparently they didn't do enough diligence cleaning the dough machine before they went back to making pizzas.
Oh, wow.
A weed pizza. That's something
there you go.
I have not tried before.
We didn't...
awfully lot of oregano on this pizza.
In the winners and losers, I thought of it late, but I'm surprised no one, and I haven't checked all of the texts, but I'm surprised no one has referenced either Sydney Sweeney or the detractors of Sydney Sweeney. They are calling her a Nazi and calling American Eagle, Nazis because they're making a pun on jeans, G-E-N-E-S rather than J-E-N-S. I don't know. I think the super losers are the people that want to turn this into some Nazi eugenics, racist thing.
I was kind of like Gary Nolan. I thought it was a pretty slick, well put together campaign myself.
It's smart. It is smart. It's a great campaign.
The old line, there's no bad publicity. I bet they're still selling a bunch of jeans.
Yeah, Drake hasn't seen it yet, but I'll show him some of her stuff afterwards. I was been able to locate that. It's hard to find those ads, Drake. But if you have a hard time, I want you to do that.
Well, speaking of that, there's another winner. I almost forgot. Sydney Sweeney is apparently postponing her wedding because of troubles.
There's
still a chance, baby. What's the call-in number in case of Sydney Sweeney's listening?
Oh, yeah. Well, 800-529-5572 if you're listening, Sydney. Drake will paint his body whatever color you'd like. And forget the black and gold. You like Kansas? He'll paint it Kansas.
No.
You wouldn't go
That's
that far.
That's
you wouldn't
too
go
far.
that far?
That's too far.
If Sydney Sweeney called and say, if Drake paints his body the Kansas color, the Jayhawk color, I'll date him. You wouldn't do it.
No.
All right.
No.
Stay strong, Drake.
That wraps it up for another week with Wake Up. Thanks for staying with us. We will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Bye.